Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I'm Marci Brockman, and on this tiny little segment on What's Up, Marci, my YouTube channel, I would like to talk about the power of journaling. I know I've kind of talked about this a little bit on and off, but I really want to just spend just a few minutes talking about the impact that journaling has had on me. And I feel like I'm very qualified to talk about this because this is the box of journals, this huge box of journals that I have been keeping since 1985. 1984. I've got books that are chock full. This was from 1986 in my own handwriting, that are chock full of extra notes and cards and all sorts of things that I left for myself. I've got tons of these books just filled with my emotions and my thoughts and my recounting of experiences and events. And when I didn't get fancy books, I've got just regular ledgers with lined pages. I've got printouts in folders, and I even have plain old, like here, and I date them. Got all these books. But I even have like plain old marble notebooks. It doesn't have to be super fancy. This is from 1998. I've got just a whole stack of legal pads. This is from 1991. And I write, and some of it's poetry, and some of it are story ideas, and most of it is me having dialogue with myself about the shit that's going on in my life at any given time. You know, how did I deal? I'm gonna put this down. Ugh, that's a heavy box. And there are also probably many gigabytes of data on my hard drive of my computer. I want to write every day, but I don't quite get to it every day. I have an app called Day One, Dayone, that I bought off the App Store. I mean, it's free, but I bought the paid version so that I could sync it with my phone. So it's on my phone and my iPad and my computer, and it syncs in the cloud. So if I write something on my phone, it'll show up in the thing on my computer and vice versa. And you can upload pictures and stuff. But the thing is that this kind of writing that you do in a journal is called expressive writing. And psychologically, it has benefits, mental health benefits, as well as physical health benefits. When we write about how we feel about things, we write about events, you know, like today I did this, that, and the other thing, and I went with my grandmother, and my daughter said this, and I'm not really sure, but we had a fight over, and I don't really understand, you know, like whatever it is that you're trying to make sense out of, it helps you figure out what the actual thing happened is. It helps you figure out how you feel about that thing and contextualizes it within your relationships and the history of your life and your own behavior and who you are. And that also helps you chart a course for your future. You know, like I've gone through some shit. Those of you who know me, who've watched my videos, who've been here on What's Up, Marci with me, those of you who have read my book, you know that I've been through some shit. You know, I was raised by, just a really short 15-second synopsis, I was raised by a mom who, despite the fact that she did love me, she was an undiagnosed bipolar, self-medicating, and she was narcissistic, and wound up for the last little more than a decade of her life being an opiate drug addict. So dealing with her as her daughter was hell on wheels. You know, the bipolarity alone, without the narcissism and the drug addiction, the bipolarity alone was toxic. And I never knew from one moment to the next if she was going to be Cruella de Vil or she was going to be Mary Poppins. And so that created for me a very toxic, dysfunctional, emotional relationship template, and that I proceeded to apply to every other relationship in my life, familial and friend and romantic. And And I kind of didn't trust people, and I didn't feel worthy of love. And I didn't feel like, unless I was working really hard to fix them or please them or do what they wanted to do and sublimate everything that I ever thought and felt, that I wasn't good enough or worthy of love. And what journaling did for me, and it's not a quick process. None of this, life itself, is not a quick process. But what journaling did for me was it allowed me a safe place to say everything that I needed to say, explain what's going on with my mom, play by plays over what happened. Like, she said this and I said this, and this is how I felt, and I don't know how she feels. And, if I go back and I read my journal, that's chock full of what it's full of. And I think that's what gave my memoir the multiple dimensionality that it has, because it's not only just me talking about my life and remembering things as the 52-year-old looking back, but I was literally able to go to first line documents, original source documents, and say, no, Marci, your 52-year-old self did not remember that correctly. When you were 15, you said this and you did this, and you were not as innocent in that. You did this. And it really helped me figure out where I am now and make sense out of my relationship with my mother, because she's no longer alive, so I can't make sense of her with her. But I could make it make sense to me by reading what I had written. And by writing things now, I'm making sense out of how I feel and who I am and what I want. And it really helps clarify my brain and my thought patterns and focus me on where I want to go in my future. And I've made peace with myself. I love myself. And I want every one of you who's watching this to be able to look at yourselves in the mirror and say the same thing. It feels really good to be able to say that. I have my faults. I'm not going to enumerate them now, because, who the heck wants to listen to that? But I'm resilient, and I'm strong, and I'm smart, and I'm creative, and I can think my way out of a situation because I've have all this experience, and I'm open-hearted and kind and compassionate and empathic. And I want to help all of you and support all of you on your own version of this journey. And so what I'm strongly suggesting that you do is take your computer out and open up a Google Doc, or open up a Word document, or open up the notepad on your computer, or open up the notepad in your phone. I do that all the time. Just open up, of course it's not going to do it quickly, but open up the notepad on your phone and type away, and at least it's there. Grab a notebook or a pad and a pen and just write something. You can start by talking about how grateful you are about certain things that happened. What happened today that you were grateful for? You woke up. There's something to be grateful for. You can inhale and fill your lungs with oxygen. You can stand up and walk around. You can see well, it's dark now, but you could see the sun when it was coming down, when the sky was lit up. You can feel the cool breeze in your hair. You can call a friend and be thankful for the friendship that you have, that even though if you may be slightly isolated because we're still in the middle of this COVID pandemic thing, that you can still reach out and call a friend and call your siblings or call a family member, or, be grateful for your life partner, your husband, your wife, your children, your cats. I have one of my cats right here at my feet. It's important to think about all those things. The reason that I wrote my second book this summer, Personal Transformation Through Writing, was, and this isn't just a plug for the book, like buy it or don't buy it. It doesn't matter to me. What matters is that you take the journey and work your way through your own emotions and your own emotional intelligence and your own experience, and make peace with yourselves, make peace with your past, so that you can point yourself towards a future and give yourself the love, home, and belonging that you so deserve. We are all worthy of love and all worthy of a sense of community and belonging. You right there, can I point? You right there. Yes, you are deserving of love. No matter who you are or the past that you've had or the mistakes that you have or what you think is wrong with you, you are deserving of love. And the sooner you see that, the sooner the rest of your happy and glorious and amazing life is going to begin. And I want that from the bottom of my soul. I want that for you. So if you're considering the journal thing, you're considering expressive writing as a mental health technique, which is so vitally important now. Now, I think more than ever, because we are spending so much more time isolated, and there are so many things that are going on in our crazy, crazy world that we have to learn how to make sense out of. That I strongly recommend this to every single person. But the reason that I wrote this book, that's what I started with 5 minutes ago, I'm sorry about that, is because not everybody will know what to write. And you might stare at a blank piece of paper and feel somewhat intimidated by it and not know what to write. And so I crafted questions to sort of ease you into the process. Your favorite way to spend a day. What do I love about my life right now? Even if it starts out as a small list, it might grow. As a child, what were my dreams? What did you want to be? What did you want your life to look like when you were a kid? And then how have your dreams evolved throughout your life? You know, when I was a little girl, I wanted to be a nurse or I wanted to be a ballerina. I wanted to be a businesswoman. I wanted to be a mommy. I wanted to be a policewoman. You know, like I had all these weird dreams. Not so weird, but I had all these dreams, and some of them panned out and some of them didn't, and some of them changed. And how did they evolve? Well, you know, you realize certain things about yourself as you go. Where did I grow up and what was my childhood like? My favorite childhood memory is, what are you most afraid of? Or were you most afraid of? And what does that fear feel like? And there's a really good, deep question. You know, you could talk about that. I mean, my biggest fear is that something would happen to my children. I don't think I could take that. And that would feel dreadful. That would feel like being shot in the stomach. I can't. I just can't. Wow. Okay, I don't want to cry. What does unconditional love mean? How did my parents' personalities and habits influence me to become who I am? Traditions passed down through your family, memories of education, advice you would give to your teenage self now that you're past your teenage years, assuming you're past your teenage years. How has your ideas of love and romance and sex influenced your choices, etc. What surprises me about my life or life in general, your 5 best days, you know, which is worse, failing or never trying? How old would I be if I didn't know how old I was? What is the one thing I'd like to most change into the world? How important is what others think of me? How important is reputation? Has my greatest fear ever come true? What is the difference between being alive and truly living? And then metacognitive reflexive questions, like now that you've gotten to the end of the journal, how has the way you see yourself changed? And then I included some blank pages at the end, but you know, this is just a launching off point. No book could be big enough to write everything that you have to say about any particular topic. But like I did with my book, my many journal books, you can write on a separate piece of paper and stick it in. You could use these questions and this space as a launching off point and then go digital with it. There are many ways that you can do this for yourself, but the most important thing to me is that you do it. I really want you all to journal. It is so gratifying and so important to gain clarity and focus and empathy for yourself and self-love, what the Buddhists call Maitri, treating yourself with the same loving kindness and open-hearted compassion that you would treat somebody else that you love. And to me, it all starts with journaling. It all starts with writing. So pick up a pen or your keyboard or your phone and start today. Thanks so much for listening.